This zoomed out weekly Bitcoin chart is screaming at all of us. If you're a crypto holder, screaming at you to prepare right now. And I know this opening sounds like kind of this urgency that creates some type of sensationalism, like clickbaity. But I'm telling you, it sounds clickbaity, but it is reality. Right now, we all have to prepare for the next year or so. And in this video, I'm going to break it down. We have a really nice roadmap on this chart. And I want to explain why this Bitcoin chart plays into parabolic altcoin season as well. So hit the subscribe and like on the way in. Let's jump into the video. So we're actually going to go back all the way to 2012 as our starting point when it comes to charts. November 28th, 2012. This exact day, 12 years ago. Insane when we start digging into the data and how it plays into this current cycle. Before I dive into the charts though, I want to just bring up this very quick thread that I saw the other day. Plan B said, Bitcoin's getting stronger. RSI is 75 now, soon 80 plus. Here's where things became interesting for me in regards to this post. And basically this is just saying there's a ton of room for upside for this cycle, but it's Caitlin Long made a comment. That's an interesting chart because it clearly shows that the top was clipped off the prior cycle compared to the previous two. All the leverage-based financialization, FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, etc., caused that result. Clipped the top off the bull, but pierced the bottom during the bear. I want to bring that up real briefly because I did notice every time I go over to a Bitcoin, let me change this to a monthly chart, the Bitcoin monthly chart, you can see Bitcoin on the RSI. And I've always noticed this, just it stopped. It stalled out kind of sooner than maybe it would have. And that's something I've always noticed on this Bitcoin monthly chart. And real quick note, look how much upside we have of this bull market. But let's change this back to a weekly, and then let's go back to that thread, and then we're going to dive into the chart. So Plan B replied and said, yes, indeed, 2021 was clipped off by China, Luna, FTX, Celsius. And despite the clip off, 2021 still had 5 RSI 80 plus months that pushed Bitcoin from 20 to 60. Imagine 3x from today's 90,000. And imagine no clip off in 2025. Everybody, this, as we dive into the charts, creates that urgency because right now, so far, there is not that clip off. We actually have an opposite thing happening with the Trump administration coming in, all these pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto people in the cabinet, all the bullish news. And I just posted about this earlier. Imagine we get a US Bitcoin reserve and no capital gains tax on crypto. The odds are actually shifting in our favor. We need a new word for super cycle. That is where we are headed into this bull cycle. But let's talk about the charts. And I want to just go back to, and by the way, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. If you're in the US, happy Thanksgiving. I am actually incredibly grateful for each and every one of you, no matter where you are in the world. So just wanted to mention that. So I hope you have an awesome day. But here we are, November 28th, 2020 or 2012, the first Bitcoin halving. The first Bitcoin halving, November 28th, 2012. Now, here's the deal. That exact moment plays into my thesis for my technical analysis and just crypto long term. I did this in 2018, but it was this. When I posted this around $3,500 in the bear market low of 2018, it was really the foundation of it was based off of a pattern of 3 events. Number 1, the halving. Number 2, all-time high. 1 year after the halving, you see Bitcoin reaching new all-time high. And then number 3, after all-time highs reach, you see consolidation. It's the 4-year cycles, and it is all rooted in what happened at this moment right here. And there is a ton of things that come into play when it comes to these halvings, but one of the major things is a Bitcoin supply shock. Now, the scarcity of Bitcoin, how it plays into the increased value of BTC over the years. Obviously, there's reaccumulation, there's bear markets, but right now, here we are, November 2024. And what's so cool about this, we really talked about this in relation to election data. We kind of went back to previous elections and we're like, man, after previous elections, Bitcoin really didn't go lower. It was kind of up only after that moment. But I think even more powerfully so, it's really rooted in what happened back here in November 2012. And that is to say the first Bitcoin halving. And here's November 2016 right here. You can notice what happened post Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving wasn't that November, but Bitcoin halving had already happened. Bull market. And then we go to the next cycle and we look at it. Where's November? Right here. Bull market. And here we are, everybody. Bitcoin halving obviously has happened already in spring 2024, but here we are in November once again, and things are more bullish than they have ever been in the crypto space. So I want to take a glance because obviously we know what this can mean for Bitcoin. We know, and we just saw what they're saying over here, 3x from today's 90,000. Could you imagine? I just did a post, and I want to just show it very briefly because this is, I think, going to be a headline of this cycle. The ultimate bull market story this cycle will be that Bitcoin flipped everything and is now second behind gold. This will be $182,000 Bitcoin. This is like in reach for this cycle. And you can see this would bring Bitcoin number 2 behind gold, flipping Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. And this is the story that I think is in play. Now, could you imagine for a moment what altcoins would be doing in this environment of Bitcoin supply shock? And by the way, this will be a first for altcoins. This is in relation to Cardano. You can see Plutus posting over here. We now have clarification that Bitwise has filed for a Cardano ETF. Enjoy the cycle. You're not bullish enough. And you can just see this is in relation to the Bitwise 10 crypto index fund. Cardano is in there. And I really think it's only a matter of time before ADA is going to have its own singular ETF. But that is what's happening with altcoins. Van Eck has a meme coin index, everybody. So imagine as we enter this cycle that is rooted in that halving from 12 years ago, imagine what altcoins are going to do. And the reason I'm saying it's so urgent right now is because when we really start measuring the data and we go back, let's go back to 2 cycles ago. And I've been talking about this a lot. You can just see from altcoin season 2 cycles ago, you can just see 300 some days later, markets topped out, right? And there's our November in this area, right? Back then, 2016. But then you go and you look at last cycle, the cycle that got clipped early. Check it out. From altcoin season right here, starting to all-time high around 300 some days. And so here we are. Altcoin season has not, in my view, been confirmed just yet. Still waiting for the Bitcoin dominance chart to fall. That will be in another video. It's getting very close in my opinion. But even if we have an early December, right, area, the next 300 some days brings us to October 2025. And this is kind of a date, a month that I've been talking a lot about lately, October 2025. Prepare for it. So when I kind of bring into play the urgency of this to prepare now for this to actually unfold, it's because this 300 some days will go very fast, everybody. And we have to prepare for it. Yes, this is a bullish video. There's potential for downside. Like the whole thing could collapse, and our thesis as a whole, because I know many of you are thinking the same thing, it could collapse and maybe things diverge and things are different this cycle. I don't know. But right now, if we're looking at previous cycles and if we're really studying what it's all rooted in, and that is to say that very first Bitcoin halving back in 2012, then I think it is at the very least a good idea to prepare for what is about to happen. And again, this really could be a super cycle because there are things coming together that have never come together in this way in previous cycles. And just off the top of my head, the pro-Trump administration, pro-crypto Trump administration, right here is happening. Institutional adoption, this has never happened. Bitcoin supply shock is actually becoming very real because institutions want Bitcoin and they want altcoins. They want meme coins. This has never happened before. Governments want Bitcoin. This has never happened before. So what is in store for us? If we can be patient, I think is monumental. I mentioned we're going to have to rename super cycle for something else because I think this really could get very, very bullish, very, very fast. and the supply shock is here. So how this plays out will be very interesting as we kind of close out November 2024. We see what happens post-November. Every cycle so far, will that continue to hold? We'll continue zooming in on the Bitcoin charts, the altcoin charts to really just see consolidation on the shorter term. But this is where we are right now. Bitcoin around $95,000, November 2024. Will this cycle repeat in a manner that other cycles have done? And if not just repeat, but actually outperform and do something very special. That's what I'm going to be tracking. Those are my thoughts today, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, turn notifications on, be notified when I'm putting out these videos. We're covering Bitcoin markets, altcoin season, altcoins, all that good stuff, crypto news. And if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.